Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you have. My name is Funto Daniel here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. I want to, first of all, congratulate the elected president of Cameroon, President Issa Bakary. I know it's a lot of challenges, and those challenges is not always easy, especially relate to the outgoing and incoming leadership in any country, in anywhere in the world. That also come of challenges. Although Europe has experienced a lot of changes and they have a lot of smooth transition, and the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. But the people that have not witnessed is some of the African countries that are still experiences difficulty in transitions, because there have never been a system in place that facilitate this transition period. And so that is why the incoming and the outgoing are always wondering, what would be my outcome, what happens to me, and what it is, because even though they have been in power, they've never put an institution structure that reflects the morale that any leader will expect that everyone must abide to, and each time they are this period of transition of power. But however, I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit. But however, I want to again congratulate the newly elected president of Cameroon, President Issa Bakary. And President has echoed a strong message, and that is happening tomorrow, and that is in Cameroon, 3 p.m. Cameroon time, if I'm not mistakenly. The president has called for a peaceful, massive demonstration throughout Cameroon. The purpose is to re-echo the strong message to the outgoing regime. The purpose is that Cameroon is ready for a transition. Cameroon is ready for a transition. And so therefore, there is ongoing inconsistency with the outgoing regime trying to manipulate election results in order to remain in power. And that is a serious problem in any country when the outgoing systematically fail to recognize and a meaningful election and peacefully transfer of power. And there are some leaders within the military, and I want to appreciate them, the general that was recently assigned to arrest President-elect Issa. And he publicly, the general publicly declined that is not his area of expertise. His duty is to protect the citizen. And that is what every military in any nation, their duty is to protect every citizen of that nation. It's not to brutalize these very citizens that they have been assigned to protect. And that shows a dramatic change in Cameroon when the military publicly acknowledge his specific duty to protect, and that is a fundamental change. And so we want to recognize his message, and has resonated throughout Cameroon. And also, I also want to emphasize the military, all branches of military in Cameroon. There are certain orders that are respected, and there are certain orders that do not warrant a respect. And as a military, irrespective of what branch you are, whether you are in the Air Force, you are in the infantry, you are what level, whether you are in the Defense Department, whatever area you are specialized, you have a specific duty, and that duty is to protect. It's not to protect the president, it's not to protect one single individual, it's to protect every citizen of Cameroon throughout the Cameroon territorial integrity. And that is the duty. And you are governed by law. And that law is the specific foundation that every people of Cameroon must respect and must abide to. And that is the exemplary behavior that the general demonstrate. I am also speaking here in the great state of Texas to re-emphasize that all Cameroonians, that the incidents that they are beginning to arrest political leaders, and that is the duty of the military, arbitrarily exercise duty that is not respected. I understand the duty and the difficulty that the military of Cameroon are facing, because it has never occurred to them. They have always been told that this is what they must do, but they have never had the opportunity to regard those orders, whether as some need to be executed. And that is why the military are intelligent people, and people of civilians are also intelligent. And so the duty of the military, with their experience and training, is to discriminate orders that are meaningless, and orders that does not warrant it, and orders that are not to be executed. So their duty is to look at those orders that have been sent. Who is sending those orders? Are the orders for the interest of all Cameroonians? Are the orders to beneficial for all Cameroonians? If a certain orders are not beneficial for the Cameroonians, it's time the military to stood up and say, no, we will not execute such orders because it doesn't interfere in the liberty of the people of Cameroon. We understand different worlds, how they function. And so Cameroon is not exceptionally different. Cameroon is also part of the whole world. And so the military duty has been to protect its citizens and the integrity of a nation. And so when a leader takes over power, they need to respect that integrity. But when leaders choose to use those power arbitrarily and violate the right of the citizens, it is the prerogative authority of the military to dismiss those authority and inform the person, the issuer of the authority, that those orders are in violation of the citizens' right and privilege. So the elected president of Cameroon, President Issa Tchiroma Bakary, has re-echoed a peaceful demonstration. The peaceful demonstration is a prerogative duty for every citizen to protest. And that is bound by international law, that every citizen has the right to protest any injustice that may be implemented indiscriminately without proper evaluation, the purpose and the intention. And so therefore, military should not in any form promulgate any law that violate the right of the citizens and its people within the geographical boundary of the nations. I also want to echo this. Some of the ministers in Cameroon, especially Paul Atanganji, he thinks he's above the law and that he is the father of the nation, and therefore no one can in anywhere question his authority. And so therefore everyone must listen to him. It is time for the military to evaluate certain authority when it's come from notorious leaders out of those sort. While we appreciate President Paul Biya, the outgoing president, for his numerous services and work he has done for the nation Cameroon, but there is a time that he needs to recognize that at the end of this 43 years of service, to the nation of Cameroon, he deserves time to take a break and take a peaceful rest. It is fundamental that recognize that he has this duty to respect and be able to step aside peacefully and allow the new system of government to take place. I understand he might be wondering, what happens to me? Well, you did not build a solid foundation that will provide a foundation for a peaceful transfer of power. And so that is why you are now wondering. But he might not have the mental capability to be able to articulate whether what happens to me. But however, there is a system in place of Issa Tchiroma Bakary will initiate such a solid foundation, not only for him living now as a president, but for the future president, including himself, that there will be a foundation that every leader is living power with dignity and will have infrastructure in place that will protect their dignity as they live power. Because that is the key fundamental question many leaders are wondering, what happens to me when I leave power? But in particular in Cameroon, which I am focused on, Issa Tchiroma will address those needs and that will put an institution in place that will respect the integrity of current and the former leaders, and so that they should be able to leave power with dignity and still enjoy the benefit as a leader of a country. And so that is a specific duty that Issa Tchiroma will be implemented. And that is why he might be wondering what happens to him. And so that is why I am bringing these echo messages as a strong lead that he will be protected like any other president in power. There will be a law that will be implemented that allows for financial benefit and security protection for both ingoing and outgoing president. And that will be instituted. And that will provide a solid foundation that any president, incoming and outgoing, would retire in dignity and with love. I want again to also, with respect to the military again, that I want to lay emphasis on. The military, this is a crucial moment. This is an important time that you must exercise your duty for the goodness of your nation, for the goodness of the people. I have come across that certain members of the newly elected president have been brutalized in Douala. More specifically, the leader of the party in Douala have been brutalized, arrested, and other citizens of Cameroon, fellow militaries of people of uniform. Exercise yourself with precaution and dignity. I understand that you may be afraid because your position may be weakened, and that it is your duty to support whatever orders comes to. When certain orders that are not valid to be executed, it is your prerogative. That is why you've been appointed as a commissioner, a delegate, a colonel, a general, because you have a specific knowledge and skill and to be able to evaluate what is vital and what is not vital. And that is why you've been given that position as a leader. So by abusing those leadership, abusing the very citizens to whom you owe an obligation to protect them, and now you are being violate those orders because certain individuals in Yaoundé is giving you, that is what you must do. You need to stand up and tell them, I am not going to execute those orders because it violates the citizen's privilege and prerogative duty as an officer in uniform to protect all of them. And you tell them respectfully, I will not execute those orders because it violates the citizen to whom I owe an allegiance to protect. So why the people are demonstrating peaceful on Sunday and subsequently, I understand that you also want to know what is going on with what the so-called the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council is a scrap of paper. It does not respect the duty of a judicial system. There are three arms of government which are carefully respected, and especially here in the United States. You have the executive, you have the judiciary, and you have the legislative body. These are essential arms of government and not a tools for the government. They are dedicated to protection and stood for the strong foundation document, and that is the law of the country, the Constitution. But when it comes to the institutional judicial system in Cameroon, it is a voided institution. And that is why the citizens, when an institution systematically fails to yield to its authority and obligation to do the right thing for the common man and respect the goal and the wishes of the people, it becomes a dilapidated institution and therefore lost its value as an institution. And that is why the stewardship of the CPDM government is laying a foundation saying that everybody should go and sit quiet and wait for the outcome. No, the people do not sit and wait for outcome because the outcome is not the outcome they anticipated, because it's an outcome that is a failed outcome, because there is no effective system that respects human dignity and respects human law. It's not an institution that one will expect that a good outcome will protect the very foundation in which it was created. So I am hereby ask all fellow citizens of Cameroon that the president has called on all of you to step up and demonstrate. You either fight for and get what you want, or you sit and get the crumb of bread. So therefore, for 43 years you have been brutalized by one single regime. But it has come to the point where you all have to step out and say, no, we have to demonstrate that we deserve something better. And so that is why Issa Tchiroma has called for a nationwide demonstration throughout Cameroon and all around the world to join him to support the new change in Cameroon. Cameroon needs a change. The people need a change. And every part of Cameroon needs a change. The police need a change. The military need a change. The lawyers need a change. The hospital need a change. The environmental need a change. The road network need a change. The government need a change. And every part of Cameroon need a change. And so the moment has come. And so therefore, I am here re-echo the same message that President-elect Issa Tchiroma has been echoed. He cannot do it alone. It is all of collaboration to all Cameroonians to stand up and join. And so therefore, we urge in the military to join Issa Tchiroma for a better outcome for Cameroonians. Let us draw a new map, a new foundation for the rest of Cameroonians and the rest of citizens, so that posterity will look upon and see that we make a change. This is the moment for change. And so, if you got this message, please do not keep the message. Share the message to your loved one, to your sister, to your family, to your friends, and you all come out and support the new leader of Cameroon. And my name has been Fontaine Daniel here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. I wish all Cameroonians a new outlook for a new leadership for a better outcome. God bless and good night.